Paula Pete Works here, coming to you once again with chapter 1113 entitled Stalemate. So, we have a color spread this week of Robin playing chess using all the Straw Hats as chess pieces. Luffy being the king, and he has a sword on his back. So he finally has a sword, which is great because he's in gear 5th, which reminds me of the whole Nika pose, the whole Nika depiction when the figure has a spear and a sword. So that's cool. Usopp and Brook are bishops. Nami is the queen, which is fitting. Chopper are the pawns. Jinbei and Frankie are the rooks. Jinbei is interesting because for the first time in forever, he's in an outfit that is a small departure from his normal fit, though he's still wearing a cape and he's still wearing what looks like a sort of skirt underneath. So we got a little far away, but not too far. He refuses to draw Jinbei and anything else, I swear. Anyway. Frankie being a rook here makes me remember the I think his name is Gold Dust from Kinnikuman. He's like this big dude made out of golden blocks. He was in Ultimate Muscle too. I forgot his name. And Zoro and Sanji are knights. Zoro riding a black horse, Sanji riding a white horse, which sort of fits his whole princely persona. I like it, makes sense. I don't think any of the numbers on the chopper pawns, because there are 8 of them, I don't think any of them are significant. They're just numbered oddly. They're not even numbered 1 through 8. They're like, one has 12, one has 16 on them, so it doesn't matter. Beautiful color spread, though. Beautiful color spread. So, anyway, the world's going to sink into the ocean. The whole thing. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I spoiled it. I'm sorry. This is the biggest revelation in the entire series. I have to talk about it first. Oh my God, bruh. Oh no. The whole world is going to sink into the ocean. We don't know why yet, but I don't think that Mother Flame incident helped. Because remember, the Mother Flame incident made the entire ocean rise 1 meter across the world. So, that's not good. So that didn't help the process along, I'd imagine. So that's bad as a whole. And we are further and further introduced to the incompetence of the 5 elders and Emu themselves. My goodness. But anyway, we actually get a shot of Punk Records finally. And it's about what people thought it would be. It's not a disembodied brain. It's just the top half of Vegapunk's head that has continued to grow. And it kind of looks like Dr. Wheelo from that one Dragon Ball movie. I'm reminded of the Dragon Ball Abridged take of that movie because they showed Wheelo as a human and he had a giant head as well. So that's very funny. It feels like we've come full circle from parody into reality in One Piece from Dragon Ball. But yeah, it's in a big stasis chamber. I don't know how the satellites dumped information into this thing. I guess through the little terminal on the side by the stairs here. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's everything everyone said it would be, basically. And he's gigantic because you see Mars here for scale, and it's several times larger than Mars. It has to be at least the size of a giant, or the size of an ancient giant even. Of course, the transponder snail that York sent Mars to find was fake. It was a wild goose chase. But before that, we have shots around the world of people waiting for Vegapunk's message. We see Mary, Kaya, the former Usopp pirates. We see Crocus and Laboon. Laboon. Very cool. We actually see the old dude from Baltimore that has the antlers in his hood that Frankie danced with when he landed on Baltimore during the time skip. The way this guy talks about Vegapunk, because he recognizes him as the pride and joy of the island, but I wonder if they were childhood friends or colleagues growing up, because they seem to be about around the same age. Don't know. We see the island of birds and men, the birdie kingdom, where Chopper was sent to. It's a nice sort of callback to all the islands that we saw in Kuma's flashback, of which he sent the Straw Hats during the 2-year time skip. So I'm glad we're getting a callback again to all these places now in the present as we're sort of shooting around the world. The most interesting place that we go to is actually Hachinosu, the pirate island, because they have a whole projector screen set up. But the fact that the news is being broadcasted to Blackbeard's location is fascinating to me, because I've got a theory coming up very soon that involves Blackbeard specifically and another character in this chapter, but we'll get into that another time. I just thought it was very interesting that Blackbeard's even getting this news. And I think out of this entire chapter, he's the only Yonko other than Luffy who's getting this news. We don't get a shot of where Shanks is at or Empty Bluff Island where Buggy is at with the Cross Guild. So that's kind of weird. I don't know if this other shot is in Whole Cake though, now that I say that, because the buildings look familiar, or this could be somewhere else. I'm not sure. Not sure, they don't tell us. But yeah, Mars destroys the Den Den Mushi, finds out it's a fake, flies off in a rage, because he's found out now that stopping the message is impossible. We get another shot of a town, I think, where Saba was crowned the Flame Emperor. It looks like that town. I'm not sure. So going back up to the top, Syrup Village cannot afford a visual transponder snail because Mary tells us it's as big as some house pets, which we've seen them before. They're as big as a man, so they're massive. So of course, a small village in the East Blue probably wouldn't be able to support it, and that seems to be the case across the board, because Luffy's home village of Fuchsia couldn't afford one either. So it's very much a rich man's commodity. So that's a nice bit of world building that we kind of get off the side. Though big squares and I guess richer towns like Blackbeard's Pirate Island, which shows you he's got the capital, and Dressrosa, which is a poor nation, but I guess has experienced a bit of economic boom since Doflamingo's takeover, and they're kind of just reaping the benefits after he's been displaced, which is actually very, very funny thinking about it now. And then, of course, Water 7 has one, which Water 7 is a pretty rich town, probably thanks to the trade opportunities provided by Tom and the Sea Train, I imagine. But yeah, all the Gorosei are shaking in their boots because they cannot stop the broadcast. What's weird is that Jupiter's got his face closed up again, so I guess that is a protective shell for when he's digging. So weird. He has like a little second skin for himself. That's so odd. So I guess it peels back, like a coat. Ew. I'm sorry, I just thought about that. Okay, so Sanji's lady radar goes off and he senses that Bonnie is in trouble. I don't think he realizes that Bonnie is a child. I don't think he knows that, because as he comes in to save the day, he berates Frankie for trying to take the glory from him, which is odd. And then he kicks Nusjuro in the chin. Why is this interesting? It's interesting because Bokotsu is a yokai that's created after a horse has burned to death. So it's interesting here that once Sanji kicks Nusjuro, he bursts into flame, and it doesn't, looking at it now, it doesn't seem like he activated Dabla Jumbe or Ifrit Jumbe. So I'm not sure if this is an effect of Nusjuro responding to Sanji, or Sanji's impact alighting Nusjuro ablaze. I'm not sure. But what's creepy about it is that Nusjuro, as he's burning, is still in a hybrid state, but then his animal head comes out of his shoulder, bursts out of himself, and it bites Sanji. And in the process, Sanji drops Vegapunk's corpse. But it's weird because, man, I guess this is a part of the Bokotsu ability. Because, again, the legend has it that it's because a horse burned to death, which caused the Bokotsu to become a thing. So maybe upon strike, Nusjuro can reincarnate himself, or he can have a false body and then just revive off of it. It's very strange. It's very odd. Another thing to point out is that to sort of quell all the clone rumors for Stella, the Vegapunk, the broadcast is activated upon his heart stopping, and only the top half of his head is Punk Records. So the body that we are seeing Sanji carry around here is the real body of Vegapunk. He really did like split himself up in that way. He really did shave off the top of his head and put in this big dome of liquid, and that is his real body. So I just wanted to say that. And we get a comparison shot of how big Nostro is in his full Beast Bakotsu form, and he's as big as a giant because Omon and Kashi actually attack him and try to hold him down. And he's a big horse. He says he's big enough for them to ride, actually, which is insane. Simply insane. Atlas catches Stella, and then we get something amazing. Bonnie revs up a distorted future and activates Give Me a Giantish Future. She turns into a giant. I want to say I called this in one of the shorts I made about her because I made so many. But she strikes the same pose that Luffy does when he becomes a giant when he's fighting Kaido in Gear 5th. This is cool, bruh. Oh, this is cool. I love you, Bonnie. Bonnie's amazing, bruh. I love Bonnie. She's great. She's so cool. Giantess Future. And is giant. What's also interesting here is that when you see her turn giant, Nesjuro is turning back to normal, as if the flames are extinguishing themselves, and his human form, or his hyper form, I should say, is sort of coming back into shape. So I really don't know how this is working for him. I still wouldn't say like he's an actual demon or whatever people are saying. People are saying it on TikTok, they're saying it on YouTube. I don't buy it, because we've seen how weird Zoans can be. And if an awakened Zoan can even implement things like the weird sort of body horror stuff you see in Smiles, I wouldn't be surprised, especially seeing as how Nosjuro most likely is mythical. Like I've said before, if any Gorosei wasn't mythical, it would be Jupiter, the big worm, because he's the only guy who's he's not even like a mythical creature. He's a D&D monster, you know? And with how One Piece is, sandworms could have actually existed at a point in time. So I still think Jupiter is an ancient Zoan. I still think that. But yeah, there's still something to be said for why they were named in the way they were named. But I'm still on the fence on whether they are anything other than Delphoid users. You know, seeing as how the demons were named, perhaps they'll get a different title later, because we have had things in the past in which things were related to as a power or a jutsu, like the Tontara reference Delphoid powers as just powers, and then in Wano, Kinemon referenced his Delphoid power as a type of jutsu or something like that. So we've had differences before, so maybe this is one of those cases. Then again, too, they were said in the Delphoid format when you repeat the word. So I'm not sure. It could be one or the other, but Alchemist Razor suggests that they are Delphoid users. But moving on, we see the news reaching Sabaody Archipelago. Duval is listening in, which is nice to see Duval again. And here's an interesting point of character development for two characters, actually. Caesar Clown is actually distraught that Vegapunk has died, because that was the whole point of Neomads, for Caesar Clown and Judge to finally surpass Vegapunk, and now they can't do it. Kind of sad, kind of ripped to Caesar Clown's dreams, because, I mean, what's the use of competing when the top dog is gone, you know? That's sad for Vegapunk, it's sad for Caesar, sad for everybody. And then Morgus is realizing the troubles of the real world very quickly, as this type of broadcast he fears will threaten the nature of print news or print media. Yes, it will. Yes, it will, Morgus. Uh-oh. Big trouble, Morgus. Big trouble. That's so real, dog. Oh, that got me. That's great. And we are met now with the other Straw Hats that aren't Zoro and Jinbei, who aren't in this chapter, by the way. And there's no Luffy this chapter. But Brook, Usopp, Chopper, Robin, and Nami face Saturn. And Robin has a flashback of the voice she heard back in the O'Hara days was indeed Saturn's. I don't remember this happening. Maybe he gave an order through a Denden Mushi and it just slipped my mind. I don't know. But yeah, she recalls his voice. Saturn lays eyes on her and is aiming for her specifically because he knows the dangers that she holds. And he goes all life return, tentacle legs, trying to stab her. But the other Straw Hats step in. We get Zeus assuming his mace form, which is so clean that that's a part of the set now. I love that a lot. Chopper is in guard point, blocking a stab. Usopp is firing on Saturn, and it does look like Brook cut off a leg. I'm not sure, because it looks like one of his legs is frozen and cut in the very corner of the page. So yeah, they're doing work. The boys are going at it. And now another interesting character development moment. We have York beating herself up, saying, think. If this keeps up, they won't let me be a celestial dragon. I'm a Vegapunk too, so where would I hide it? So I think she got duped. In this situation. I think she got duped and she was told a lie for some reason. Because from this panel here, it's kind of clear that she wasn't in on the joke unless they do a double swap on us. But it really wouldn't make sense to have this panel if her feelings weren't true in this moment. And I think this could be setting up some other instances later, because I don't think Mars will actually kill her, but I still don't think they'll actually get her by the time this arc ends. I don't think so. I'll just say this: someone's at Pirate Island right now watching, someone important, and Devon and Van Auger have not left. So I don't know. We have to wait and see. But then we get the news. The Gorosei think he's going to spill the beans of what Clover started in Ohara. And this could be it. That indeed the One Piece world is going to sink into the ocean. Because we don't know what Clover was about to say. But seeing as how Clover was an astrologist and a scholar of history, he could have come to this conclusion as well. And many people have been speculating online that this is what the Void Century actually is, which I can believe that. Everything actually washed away by a great flood. And of course, there are a lot of biblical stories in our real world about a great flood being a cleansing that washes all the sinners away. So yeah, many of my colleagues on YouTube and TikTok have brought this up many a time, I'm sure. But yeah, now we have confirmation that no, indeed, for real, the world is going to sink into the ocean. Now, my question is, because I don't think we've seen it yet. Can't remember if we actually panned back to Fishman Island. I wonder what the Fishman response to this news is. Because we end the chapter on mermaids swimming with whales in the ocean. So I don't know what that's about, but it's a very interesting thing to leave off on. That we're leaving off on people of the ocean dwelling race in this final cut. I don't know. But this is all very fascinating and very ball dropping, honestly, because now you wonder, how long is it before the world succumbs to the ocean? You know, what's the time clock on it? And I know what Emu did to Leloucia did not help the clock go slower. It probably sped things up significantly, because could you imagine if all the islands around the world, even if it's not even all the islands, what if it's select islands? What if they're like pins that keeps the flood at bay? I'm not sure how that would work, but it stands to reason if one of them goes missing, the whole ocean rises by a meter. It would make sense that the islands themselves have some sort of importance. So when they're completely destroyed, like down to the tectonic plate, or however the islands work in One Piece, that it creates a giant shift. And what's crazy about this too is that when you think about Whitebeard and you think about Blackbeard, after all these shocks and earthquakes that they have made throughout both of their careers, Whitebeard especially, because he's been on the seas for longer, right? And he's had the power for longer. You would think that they would have affected the world in a worse way than they have. But apparently that is not the case, which is kind of fascinating and really makes you think about the entire scale of the One Piece world as a whole. Because there are dudes who could just throw around airquakes and seaquakes and earthquakes willy-nilly, and that doesn't change a thing. And it also puts in mind how strong the mother flame actually has to be, because that alone shifted the entire nature of the world, and quite significantly too, because a meter across the board is no joke. So I don't know. But yeah, so I have to say, with that being said, we are on break next week for Golden Week. You know, your boy Pauly P Works has always got you with content. And with that being said, many videos to come, because this is a heavy topic. But I'll catch you later. Thank you for watching. Give me your thoughts, though.